Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, we discuss all things culture and politics, and today's video is another episode of Triple Threat. This is the series on my channel where I talk about three major topics that have been on my mind as of late and just kind of discuss them more. So please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and any thoughts or opinions you have, leave them in the comments down below. And with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. So first up on the docket, we have Dylan Mulvaney. Yet again, I really wish I didn't have to make so many videos about Dylan Mulvaney, but Dylan just can't stop. Just as a heads up, I am going to refer to Dylan as Dylan because the YouTube scaries are out and they've been demonetizing, threatening to ban a lot of bigger creators on YouTube like Matt Walsh and even Tim Pool for quote unquote misgendering. I refuse to call Dylan what Dylan wants to be called because that's just not what Dylan is. So I'm just going to refer to Dylan as Dylan. I'm sure you've all heard by now about the whole Bud Light controversy, and there's really not much left to say about that other than I think conservatives did a pretty good job showing how they felt about that and reacting accordingly, but everything that needs to be said about that situation already has been said. But in the wake of the whole Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney controversy, another thing happened that Dylan did that I feel like kind of got pushed under the rug a bit more. And that was the whole Nike sponsorship. So Dylan did a sponsorship with Nike where Dylan was advertising a Nike sports bra and some biker shorts and just other things from Nike, right? Well, what's the issue with that? Well, sports bras are made for a specific purpose, right? Women use sports bras when we do, extraneous physical activity because we need something that kind of compresses, this area because, it's our biology. We have breasts. And here's the thing. Dylan doesn't have anything going on down there, which is also a little suspicious, but that aside, I'm sorry. What exactly was Nike thinking here? The whole intended purpose of a sports bra, the product that they're trying to sell through this advertising bit, is to help women compress their chest when they're working out. That is literally the only reason you would ever wear a sports bra, right? That's literally the intended purpose of it. So I don't know what Nike is thinking by having a grown biological male frolic all around in a sports bra. Like that's supposed to convince us that we should buy it as women or something. If anything, all that does is tell me, wow, Nike sports bras probably suck. They probably don't do their job. If Nike was smart and they really wanted to try to sell how good their product is at compressing your chest as a female, they would have literally anybody else do that. I don't even have a lot going on in that region, but Dylan really doesn't. It's just ridiculous at this point. It's just so insulting. There are so many other women that deserve that sponsorship and that opportunity and to actually showcase the product in its intended use. And I'm just starting to get really sick of this whole narrative. Now, when it came to Bud Light, a lot of the core group that was offended were men. And men won't really take any BS, right? So they stood up right away and said, no, you're not going to do this, Bud Light. But when it comes to women are very easily emotionally manipulated. It's much easier to convince women to accept people like Dylan Mulvaney than it is with the whole Bud Light situation, right? So unfortunately, I don't feel like enough women stood up to this and spoke their piece on it. I did see one trend on TikTok of women burning their Nike sports bras, but for the most part, this whole thing totally got swept under the rug, which in some sense is okay because whatever it takes to get these companies to stop being so woke is a good thing. But putting a biological man in a sports bra in an attempt to sell it to females to purchase for its intended use is literally just insane. It makes no sense. Like, does Nike really think that we're that stupid that we don't see what they're doing? The thing that really boggles my mind about it all is like, they didn't have to send Dylan a sports bra. They could have just sent him like a crew neck sweater or a t-shirt or something. Why did they think that that was a good idea to send him a sports bra? The one thing that they sell that literally has one intended purpose for biological women. It makes no sense. And that's why it's so obvious that they're doing it on purpose. And this isn't the only sponsorship or advertisement that Dylan has done that has involved products that were formulated and created just for biological women. There was obviously the whole tampon and Tampax situation, but more recently, Dylan was seen yet again on his social medias pushing skincare. I believe the brand was Olay, but I don't hold me to that because if it isn't, I don't want to drag their asses when they didn't do anything, but I'm pretty sure it was Olay. Nonetheless, again, when it comes to skincare for women, that is formulated for biological women because women have different skin needs than men. This company that sent Dylan the skincare literally could have just sent him a body wash, for example, right? Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, when you're taking a shower, if all you have is a bar soap, it all goes down the drain the same, right? But instead, no, they had to send Dylan this specific, formulated skincare for the face that is obviously for a biological woman. Ladies, y'all need to stop being emotionally manipulated by Dylan and these companies and the whole transgender movement, okay? We don't have to take this. We don't have to take these grown biological men parading around as women thinking that all it is just, makeup and cute dresses and that you can just wake up one day and be like us. We don't have to take this. You realize that, right? I know women are more compassionate in nature, and while that's a beautiful thing, this is where it hurts us. Do we really need men to stand up to Dylan Mulvaney for us? I just can't help but feel like these companies that are going woke are just sitting up there in their boardrooms laughing at us because it's become so normalized and accepted in our society. It's one thing to have someone like Dylan or even just a gay man advertise for like makeup or something because both men and women enjoy and wear makeup. Makeup can be formulated for everyone. But when you take these products that are literally specifically designed for biological women and just throw them and toss them at men like it's nothing, it's honestly insulting. There are so many women out there that deserve those opportunities way more than Dylan. And at the very least, I don't understand why they couldn't have just given Dylan products that can be used by anyone. Why does it have to be specifically products that are used by women? I think we know why. And that just makes it all the more insulting. Moving on, next up on the docket is the whole Steven Crowder divorce debacle. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I really don't think that this situation is anyone's business, to be honest. This really should be kept between the two parties that it involves and affects, but unfortunately, it's out there, and there's just some things that I saw going on with this situation that I couldn't not speak on. As I'm sure a lot of you know, there has been a video surfacing around on Twitter of Steven Crowder and his ex-wife Hillary getting into a really heated argument. It was caught on like Ring camera footage and it doesn't look good. Now, that video plus the way Steven has just been handling this whole divorce situation, I don't really think it's surprising, to be honest. Is it? Because not even that long ago, we covered on this channel the whole Daily Wire and Steven Crowder thing. While I understood some of Steven's points in that, he didn't have to go about it the way that he did. That was weirdly aggressive for no reason. On top of that, former employees like Dave Landau, who used to be on Steven's show, have come out and kind of talked about their working experience with Steven. Another example is when the whole Daily Wire thing was going on, Lauren Chen came out and kind of talked about her not so great experience with Steven. And basically, I think it's pretty much understood by everyone that while Steven is kind of a creative genius, he's very difficult to work with. He can get very aggressive, and when he doesn't get what he wants, he kind of just has a tantrum. Typical man child. So I don't think this camera footage of this argument and the way Steven was acting in it is really surprising to anyone. It honestly kind of makes sense. It matches up with what we know. The way Steven has handled his divorce and announcing it so far is just horrendous. I think a lot of the issue people have with Steven is he's just always trying to play the victim, and that's like very liberal mentality, right? When he announced his divorce, he easily could have just said, it sucks, but it is what it is, and I'll appreciate some privacy at this time. But no, he had to blame his wife for it. He literally thinks the only reason that he's not still married is because the state of Texas says it's okay to get a divorce. And, there's a lot of things wrong with that mentality. You can't force a human being to stay married to you. Your wife isn't your property. I don't know what to tell you. I think that rubbed people the wrong way. And then to have this video come out on top of it, it's one of those things where I think people wish Steven would just take responsibility for the part that he played in the divorce, which it's really obvious that he did play a big part when we see footage like we saw in that video. Kind of seems like the reason that Steven's marriage is ending has a lot to do with him, but he can't take any accountability for it. And that's frustrating for people. I'm sorry, but there's no denying that the way that he spoke to his wife in that video is not okay. I know people are saying, well, it's just a 20-second clip. I don't really think there's any context in which it's okay to speak to your significant other or your wife like that. It's one of those things where it's not so much what you say, but how you say it. And I think Steven would fare well from examining that statement a little bit. When I watched that video of him and his wife arguing, it immediately brought back feelings of my last relationship and a lot of the, narcissistic abuse that I suffered in that relationship. And from all of the things that I've heard about Crowder, from people working with him, seeing this video, seeing how he handles the situation, how he's always the victim, I think I can reasonably deduct that he's probably a narcissist. I'm not diagnosing anyone, obviously, but, I was in a relationship with a narcissist for 7 years, and as a result of that, I suffered narcissistic abuse. So when I see it, I know it, you know what I mean? And when I watched that video, it brought me right back to that relationship, unfortunately. I think a lot of really great geniuses and visionaries have vices. It's kind of the case. And it seems like with Steven, he has a bit of anger management issues and is a little bit of a man child. There's some ego things going on there. And that's not the end of the world, but it does take, acknowledging the fact that you have some things going on first. Moving over to some of the things that he was saying in that video. Look, I'll say this, even though I personally disagree with Steven's idea of the role a wife is supposed to play, he has every right to expectations and desire that from a wife, but I personally really disagree with that. It seems like Steve's idea of love is really just simple and reduced down to, well, you don't cook for me or clean for me, so you don't love me. And I think that's a really shallow view of love. Not to mention, I'm just gonna be real for a second. Steven's wife is ready to pop at any minute in that clip, and to be honest, he should just step up and be the man and take care of some of these things around the house that she's just currently not able to. Only having one car, I don't know what the deal is with that, if the car is in the shop, if what the deal is with the car, but just with my experience of narcissistic abuse, it seems kind of like a control thing. And it's just very odd. At the end of the day, I don't know. I just think that it would fare Steven well to just close his mouth sometimes. It is what it is. Always making yourself the victim, it doesn't look good. And when we take a look at some of the behavior with the Daily Wire thing, it's not doing good things for Steven. So anyways, I wish him well. I really wish I didn't have to witness that. I think that's the kind of stuff that's just none of our business. There's no reason for that to be in the public, but it is what it is. And with my experience with the narcissistic abuse thing, I just couldn't help but say my piece on it. So lastly, Tucker Carlson has left Fox News. Some reports say that he was fired. Some reports say that they left on mutual terms. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. Tucker Carlson is gone from Fox. First thing I have to say about this is I called this. Not even 2 months ago, I was at my boyfriend's house and his grandpa watched Tucker Carlson every night religiously. And this was around the time of the January 6th videos. And I remember saying wow, I really commend his bravery. That's some real G stuff to be doing this kind of stuff. He's got to be careful because this is really out there, and my boyfriend was saying no, he can do whatever he wants because Fox needs him. And I was like, hold up, babe. Hold on. That is not the case. We all know people like Rupert Murdoch and the elites, they don't need anyone. So in my opinion, Tucker was forced to leave because he was just getting too real. And while I loved that he was getting real and I respect him for that, it is sad, right? It is a shame because I think that there is a core group audience there that while they would like to follow Tucker into his next endeavor, they may not know how to. The thing with him being on Fox News is that's very accessible, and he drew in a lot of people that don't even normally watch cable news period, or even cable period, and that audience might be at risk of loss now. But whatever Tucker does next, he'll be fine. Whether he does a podcast, he goes on Rumble, or maybe he starts his own news network, whatever he does, he's going to be just fine. At the time of recording this, I was just looking at the tweet that he had posted with his new monologue, the 2-minute kind of thing. And it already has like 24 million views or something and like 240,000 likes. I mean, that's more views than Fox is ever going to get. That's more views than Fox will get in like a month. So whatever Tucker does, he's going to be A-okay. And I'm really excited to see what he does next. I think in that clip that he posted on Twitter, in my opinion, I think what he's alluding to is he's going to be hosting some sort of presidential debate. I could be wrong, but we'll see, because it was very much giving that. I did just want to say too, I saw Steve Bannon talking about this, and he was mentioning how Rupert Murdoch like hates God because he's a Satanist. And anytime God gets brought up, he gets very sensitive to that. And he had been begging Tucker to stop talking about God. And recently, you know, Rupert, his then wife, and Tucker Carlson were at a dinner, and his fiance at the time was just praising Tucker, calling him, you know, a messenger of God. And Rupert actually ended the engagement because of that. And a lot of people are suspecting that that is why he pulled Tucker out of Fox. We all know how these elite Satanists are, so could be the case. Whatever the reason is, it's truly a shame. I think Tucker Carlson will go down as the last great American journalist on cable news. And, you know, to that, cheers. All right, guys, that is it for today's episode of Triple Threat. What are you guys' thoughts on all of this? Do you think Steven Crowder is the perpetual victim? Do you think the Nike thing with Dylan Mulvaney got swept under the rug? And what are your thoughts about Tucker getting axed from Fox? Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in a new video soon. Peace. Shit.